I made a decision to go all in on Roth way back in 2016 when I started my financial independence journey. And I have been 100% prioritizing my retirement investments by maxing out my Roth IRA and Roth 401k for the past 10 years. The primary reason for this is that my tax-free growth in my Roth accounts will surpass what I currently pay in taxes by the time I retire early. Not only does the math make sense, but I want to enjoy my money without the IRS standing over my shoulder asking for its cut every time I take a withdrawal. Now, I'll be upfront with you. This is my personal situation, and I'm not saying it's the right path for everyone, but I like to walk you through my reasoning as perhaps you will see some pieces that apply to your life as well. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why I feel so strongly about Roth and why I'm not looking back. So let's start with the first reason, tax-free growth. Right now, my marginal tax rate is 24%, and I don't pay any state income taxes because I live in Nevada, and that's a big advantage for me. Maxing out my Roth 401k at $23,500 and my Roth IRA at $7,000, I know upfront that I'm paying $7,320 in taxes on those contributions today in 2025. So even when the Roth contribution limits go up next year, in 2026, they're going to adjust the tax brackets by the same inflation rate. As long as my current income remains the same, I'm going to be paying 24% for every dollar I put into my Roth 401k and Roth IRA. That makes sense so far, right? But here's where the magic happens. I'm 39. Let's say I retire at 60. So that gives me 21 years until I can touch this money without any issues, since I'll be over 59 and a half. Over those 21 years, I'm going to keep contributing that $30,500 every single year, and it will be adjusted by inflation annually. Now, let's run a projection. We need to guess at a rate of return, so let's be realistic. Let's say the stock market gives me an average of 8% per year, and let's assume inflation runs at about 2% a year to increase my combined Roth 401k and Roth IRA contributions. So my investments are growing at a nominal rate of 10% annually. After 21 years of doing this, assuming I started with $0, the total amount of money I personally put in, or my cost basis, would be a little over $640,000. The earnings, the growth on top of my contributions, are projected to be around $1.3 million. So my account balance will be sitting just under $2 million in 21 years. Now, here's the punchline. Because I chose the Roth, that $1.3 million in growth is 100% completely tax-free when I turn 59 and a half. I can withdraw every single penny of it, and I won't owe the government a dime. Now, let's circle back to the taxes I paid along the way. It was $7,320 a year, and over 21 years, that adds up to over $153,720 in taxes. Again, not adjusted for inflation to keep this math simple. At what point does my tax-free growth break even with the taxes I pay annually? So take a look at this chart right here. In my first year, let's say I put that $31,500 in a combined Roth 401k and Roth IRA, I'm going to do an average rate of return of 8%. I'm also going to increase my contribution by 2% annually. So it goes from $31,500 to $32,130 in year two, and then $32,773 in year three, and so on and so forth. In my first year, 8% return would give me $2,500 in tax-free growth. And I also pay $7,500 in taxes if you look at the far right side of this chart. So I would need to make a 24% return in the first year to break even with the taxes I paid, right? But I'm just going to keep things realistic and simplistic here. And in my second year, I earned another $5,300 in tax-free growth, but I paid another $7,700 in taxes. So I'm still not quite there yet. It's not until year 5 that I earned a total of $43,000 in tax-free growth and paid $39,000 in total taxes. And when I hit 10 years, my Roth earnings will be at $188,000, and the total taxes paid on my Roth IRA and Roth 401k will be at $82,000. Take a look at year 15, because I'm going to be at $490,000 in total tax-free growth, and the total taxes paid will be $130,000. By year 21, the total Roth earnings have grown to $1.18 million, while the total taxes I paid over the course of 21 years amount to $195,000. But I started maxing out my Roth IRA and Roth 401k 10 years ago. So by the time I'm 31 years into my Roth investing journey, when I turn 59 and a half, I'm going to have $1.3 million in Roth contributions almost $3.8 million in tax-free earnings, and I have paid $320,000 in total taxes for the Roth contributions in 31 years. That's a total of $5.1 million in my Roth 401k and Roth IRA combined. $5 million versus $320,000. Pretty simple comparison there, right? So I asked myself this question a long time ago. Would I pay almost $320,000 in taxes over 3 decades so that a future pile of money worth $5 million would be mine completely tax-free? For me, it's a calculated bet, and I'm betting that tax rates by the time I'm in my 60s will be higher than they are today, either because the government raises them or because my own income puts me in a higher bracket. And the birth rate in this country is still declining, resulting in fewer taxpayers in the future, which could negatively impact the government's revenue. And if that bet pays off, I don't just win, I win big. And just think, if I find myself in a 32% bracket in the future, I've saved myself a fortune. These millions of dollars would have cost me a lot more money in taxes if they were in a traditional account. By paying the taxes now, I've locked in my current tax rate and protected that massive growth from the government forever. It's the ultimate long game. Now, let's say I'm at a 30% plus tax rate right now. Would I still do Roth? Yes, I still would, because my time horizon to touch my Roth account is more than 20 years. Even at those higher levels, the tax-free growth still wins by a landslide. It's not even close. This is the part that clicked for me. That I'd rather just lock in what I know today than gamble on what tax rates will look like in 20 or 30 years. In my opinion, taxes are not going down, regardless of how many tax bills are passed today. Our population is projected to shrink in the future, and instead of choosing a traditional 401k to lower my taxes now, I contribute to other pre-tax accounts such as my health savings account or HSA to lower my taxes. You can always check out my HSA playlist on my channel after watching this video, or get your free resources like the compound interest calculator I just showed you earlier by visiting fireteacher.com/resources. Now, the second reason I'm all in on Roth is the flexibility with contributions. You can roll your Roth 401k into a Roth IRA because that shift gives you earlier access to your contributions. Here's how it works. Once you leave your employer, you can ask your 401k plan manager for a rollover, and they will usually give you a few options. The simplest and safest are either a direct rollover where the check is made out directly to your new Roth IRA custodian, or a trustee to trustee transfer where the two institutions handle it for you without tax consequences. Once your Roth 401k funds are sitting inside a Roth IRA, the rules change. You can withdraw that Roth 401k contributions from your Roth IRA at any time, tax-free and penalty-free. Just remember, the Roth earnings portion is still locked up until you've had the Roth IRA for at least 5 years and you're 59 and a half or older, unless you meet a special exception. So in practice, rolling your Roth 401k to a Roth IRA can unlock a sort of emergency backdoor to your own contributions while keeping a long-term growth sheltered for retirement. And this is an easy hack for my early retirement. Let me show you the same chart I used earlier. And imagine you work at a company for 20 years. Every single year, you max out your Roth IRA and Roth 401k. After those 2 decades, you have personally contributed a total of $765,000 with a 2% inflation adjustment. This is your money, your principal that you already pay taxes on. Now, let's say the market did its thing and that account has grown to be worth, say, $1.8 million with an average rate of return of 8%. So you're sitting on your $765,000 in Roth contributions and $1.03 million in Roth earnings. The day you leave that job, you can make a direct rollover of your company's Roth 401k into your personal Roth IRA. Here's the magic trick. The moment that money lands in your Roth IRA, the IRS now sees that entire principal as Roth contributions. It inherits the rules of its new home. And this means if I want to retire early, I'm going to have full access to that $765,000 in Roth contributions, regardless of my age. You can pull the Roth contributions all out tax-free and penalty-free without touching a penny of your earnings. This single move transforms your retirement account from a lockbox into an incredibly flexible financial tool. And this is a level of control you just don't get with traditional pre-tax accounts. And I know the question that's probably popping into your head right now, but what about my employer match? That's free money and it always goes into a pre-tax traditional 401k. You're absolutely right. my employer match goes into a separate traditional 401k account. And keep in mind that under the Secure Act 2.0, you can now select a Roth employer contribution if your employer allows you to do so. So be sure to get with your 401k plan administrator to find out if that option is available for you. And as far as the traditional 401k goes, with your employer matches, there's a strategy for that too, especially for folks who are considering retiring early. It's called a Roth conversion ladder. Here's how it works. Say you retire at 50, you no longer have your big salary, so your income and your tax bracket are probably much lower. Each year, you can convert a specific amount of money from your traditional 401k over to your Roth IRA, and you pay ordinary income tax on the amount you convert, but you do it at your new lower tax rate. After a 5-year seasoning period for each conversion, that money is now tax-free as a qualified Roth conversion. You can build a ladder of these conversions year after year, systematically moving your pre-tax money into the tax-free bucket, all while managing your tax bill along the way. And it gives you incredible control over your financial destiny. So let me give you a quick example. If I'm converting $50,000 from my traditional 401k to my Roth IRA in 2025, then I can take a tax-free withdrawal of that $50,000 on January 1st, 2030. And I would just have to pay the income tax on that $50,000 by the tax deadline in 2026. So if I convert that $50,000 every year until I turn 55, then I'm going to have $50,000 in tax-free income until I'm 59 and a half. Maybe my tax rate is going to be lower from 24% to 22%, or maybe even down to 12% during my early retirement. This requires a very careful strategy. So be sure to get with your CPA in your local area when you get a chance to find out where you are with your current tax rates. And this brings me to my third and final reason, which is all about keeping control in your later years. I'm talking about avoiding required minimum distributions, or RMDs. And for those of you who might not be familiar, RMDs are the government's way of finally getting their tax money from your traditional retirement accounts. You see, with a traditional IRA or a 401k, you get a tax break on the way in, and the money grows tax deferred, not tax free, but tax deferred. Well, the party has to end at some point. At my current age at 39, and then when I eventually turn 75, the IRS will force me to start taking money out of these traditional retirement accounts every single year. And they have a formula based on your account balance and your life expectancy. And it tells you the minimum amount you have to withdraw. And every dollar you take out is taxed as ordinary income. It does not matter if you need the money or not. It does not matter if you have a pension, Social Security, and a dozen rental properties. The government wants its cuts, and it will force you to sell your investments and take a distribution so they can tax it. These forced withdrawals can be a huge problem, and they can push you into a higher tax bracket than you planned for. And they can trigger higher taxes on your Social Security benefits. And it's a forced tax event every single year for the rest of your life. It's the government reaching into your pocket and telling you what to do with your own money. And as I said, I don't want to bet on what the future tax rates will be. So that's why I would rather pay at the tax rate I know now. But with a Roth 401k, Roth TSP, Roth 403b, or Roth IRA, RMDs simply do not exist for those accounts. It's that simple. If I build this multi-million-dollar tax-free nest egg, I never have to touch it if I don't want to. If I have other sources of income and I want to let that Roth account continue to grow and compound completely tax-free until the day I die, I can. The control stays with me. This is an incredibly powerful advantage. And it's not just about me. It's about legacy. When I pass away, that Roth IRA can be passed on to my beneficiaries, say my kids. And while they will have to take distributions from it over a period of years, every single dollar they take out will be completely 100% tax-free to them. And I can't think of a cleaner, more powerful financial legacy to leave behind than a bucket of money that the government can never touch again. And I know some people prefer pre-tax contributions, and I get it. If you're in a really high tax bracket today and expect to be in a much lower one later, pre-tax can make sense. But for me, looking at where I am, looking at where I think taxes are headed, and thinking about that kind of retirement I want, I'll take Roth every time. And I want the peace of mind that comes from knowing my money is growing tax-free, that I won't owe the IRS when I need my Roth investments, and that I am in control. And honestly, this is priceless. Not to mention how those tax-free earnings will be more than what I pay in taxes every year eventually. So if you're on the fence about Roth, maybe this gave you some clarity. And if you're already on board, then you know why I'm not looking back. And this has been another beast of a video, and we got a lot out of it.